What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be discussing bad habits that many watch enthusiasts experience, and I think it stems purely from just having a strong passion for collecting wristwatches. Now, this also might tie in with an earlier video that I did called Beginner Watch Buying Mishaps, so please take a look at that in the archives of my YouTube channel. But before I get started, I'm also going to do a customary wrist check. Today I'm wearing my Zin 104 on this really nice summer NATO strap that I think makes it really comfortable and well suited for the warmer weather that we're finally getting in Southern Ontario. Okay, so the first bad habit that watch enthusiasts tend to exhibit, and that I'm very guilty of, is immediately after purchasing a new watch, you take it off its factory strap or bracelet and replace it with an aftermarket offering. For example, this box contains just my NATO straps. Now, who needs all of these NATO straps? I mean, I do. But sometimes it's better to not try and accessorize right away and just let yourself break in the watch on its original bracelet and strap. I think you'll find you'll enjoy it a lot more and save a ton of money also not buying aftermarket accessories for that watch. Okay, so the second bad habit that I think watch enthusiasts exhibit is immediate gratification. And what I mean by that is they'll go and buy a watch that's a substitute for a Grail watch that they really want. And this watch can be a homage or a straight replica to that more expensive and coveted timepiece. Now, I've done this in the past where I went out and bought like a homage watch, but for me, in many instances, I'm comfortable just having a nice watch that looks the part, but I know there's always like a burning or yearning in my heart to someday get the real thing. So in many instances, if you're going to do that, you're almost better off just pocketing that money and gradually saving up, and then one day you'll just feel a lot more gratification when you can go out and actually buy that timepiece that you really want. So the third bad habit that watch enthusiasts have is kind of in contrast to that second point. And it's when you buy that Grail watch that you're just too nervous to wear it, and it just sits in your dresser or like in a bank vault or something like that. And ultimately, I think, wearing a watch and getting it scratched up will add character to your watch. And this is true for my Zin 104, for example. This was a Grail watch for me, but you can see it has an all polished case. I was very nervous about getting that scratched up. But ultimately, I felt more confident, and I think people just appreciated it more when I actually went out and lived life wearing that watch on my wrist. And it also just reinforces the reason why I bought it in the first place. And you get to have all these nice memories, and you can share in all the milestones in your life while wearing this watch on your wrist. So by all means, please, if you're going to buy a watch, especially a Grail watch, don't be afraid to wear it. Okay, the fourth bad habit that watch enthusiasts can experience, and this is particular to automatic timepieces, is obsessing over the accuracy of the watch. Now, unless that watch has a COSC certificate or it's a certified chronometer, please don't obsess over the tolerances of its timekeeping abilities. I think if it can gain or lose about 10 seconds a day, you're doing just fine, and that watch doesn't need to be regulated or sent in for servicing, anything like that. Now, I think there's also an expectation that the more expensive a watch is, the more inherently accurate it's going to be out of the box, but I don't think that's the case. And for example, I've owned many budget watches, like from Orient. You can get their Orient Ray 2 or their Mako XL dive watches for under $200. And when I've owned them personally, they've been extremely accurate, and they only pick up about 1 or 2 seconds a day, which is amazing. So please don't feel like you're going to spend $1,000 and get the most accurate timepiece in the world, unless it does have some sort of certification that will hold the manufacturers accountable to that timekeeping level. And I'll mention some brands like Zin, for example, they do regulate their watches before it reaches the consumer. And even though it doesn't have a COSC certificate, this was well within those specs. It's actually the most accurate watch that I currently own. It picks out about I think plus 0.5 seconds a day, which is just amazing. Okay, the fifth and final bad habit I'm going to be discussing in this video is comparing a newly acquired watch to other watches in your collection. And to me, I think the best experience you can have is wearing a watch on your wrist and making that watch stand alone. Even though it could be your like fourth or fifth blue dive watch in your collection, I feel like you have a gut instinct to buy that watch, and you have certain characteristics you like about that, and you should feel confident wearing that watch on your wrist and not comparing it to the other similar watches in your collection. For me personally, I'm also guilty of trying to reevaluate and refine my watch collection if I have too many watches with similar complications, like for example a GMT complication. That just gives me an instinct to want to try and sell off a couple of watches that aren't worn as much, that have the same complication, even though they're great watches in their own right. So I'd say a good habit to try and avoid doing is comparing one watch to the other watches in your collection if you can. Okay, so that wraps up my list for this video. I'd love to know what are some of the bad habits you guys might have experienced in the past being a watch enthusiast. Please post them in the description below, and please let me know what you guys think about this video. That's about it for now though, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.